Hi, my name is Andreasen, and I'll be your facilitator today. We will be covering Smart Notebook, and we'll be creating interactive lesson activities. On your desktop, you guys should have a copy or a shortcut. Should be entitled Smart Notebook. So if you guys would, go ahead and open that up. You'll be able to follow along with me. And we'll also be able to do some of the activities together. And then at the end, you guys will be able to create your own activity. So while you guys are opening that up, if anybody needs to use the restroom, just go out the door, down the hallway. It's about halfway down. It's on the left-hand side. It's for boys and girls. In the event that there's an emergency, we'll go out the door. Go to our left, there's a set of stairs. Go down the steps, and in the event that there's a fire, we'll go outside. Tornado, we'll just stay on the inside. We'll all stay together, and we'll be just safe. Okay. Alright, so what are we actually covering today? If you guys look over here on the right-hand side, we should have the page sorter tab. Down here at the very bottom, we've got our arrows. Okay? If we select that bottom arrow, it's going to take us to our next page. Okay. So if everybody's with me, what we'll be doing today, we'll be creating a hide and reveal activity. I'm going to show you 3 different techniques. The first one will be move and reveal, order and reveal, erase and reveal. These are very simple techniques that you got to be able to use. They're effective and great ways to get your students' attention. So, what are these? Let's go ahead and move down to our next one, next page. So go ahead and select the next arrow. Okay. Over on the right-hand side, I'm going to just go ahead and scroll down. I want to do that so those in the back can actually see. You'll be able to see a little bit easier. Okay. So, if we have the question up there for our students, where is Tutankhamun's tomb? Okay. Our first technique is move. And what we want to do is come up here in our tools panel. We're going to select our selection tool. It's that top left-hand one. Just a little arrow. Let's go ahead and select that. Once we've selected it, if you notice, it's a little darker color. This way we know. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my box, and I'm going to move it down just a little bit. And there it is. We've moved it, and it's revealed our answer. Okay. Pretty simple, pretty easy. It'll be great. Okay. Now our next technique is our order, and it's very much like our move. Well, actually, we're going to move our box just down a little bit further, and it's going to reveal the answer. Okay? All we did was move that box behind the text. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. Okay? And the third one is actually my favorite, and it's the erase. So up here in our tools panel, I'm going to select our eraser. Okay? Over here on the right-hand side, it's going to pop up the contextual panel. Okay? And in that, it's going to give us 3 sizes of our eraser. I'm going to just go ahead and select our one on the far right. It's the largest. And if I just start moving my finger, it's going to reveal the answer. So where is King Tut buried? In the Valley of the Kings. Alright, so let's go ahead and move down to our next page. Okay. So why would you want to hide information before talking about it? And we'll cover this and we'll kind of discuss this when we're all done. I'm just going to let you know, I think it's a great way to get your students' attention. Okay, so if I can get everybody's attention, get everybody focused up on here, on me, we can get through the information, and I can start getting my kids started to work on their projects or their assignments. So, okay, so moving right along, let's go ahead and select our next page. Okay. Alright, so everybody should have a blank page up. Okay, does anybody need more time? Okay. So our first technique is going to be move. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is we need to get some kind of a text up there. You want your answer, you want your objective. For me, I'm just going to type a little gibberish. I've taught keyboarding, document formatting, computer applications. I've had students that can type between 2 words per minute up to 118 words per minute. Is my fastest student. Okay, but I have discovered that if they type gibberish, everybody can type about 200 words per minute. And even those students who are a little bit more reluctant, for some reason they perk up when they can type gibberish. Okay, so how are we going to do this? We're going to come up here in our tools panel, and you can select your A. We're going to bring up our contextual panel. You want to go ahead and select one of our texts, or you can come down here if you have, when you're up there at the smartboard. On our systems tray, we can select and bring up our keyboard. And with that, if I just start hitting a bunch of keys, that's gibberish. Okay? Everybody can type gibberish, and everybody can type gibberish fast. Okay? So, once I've done that, I'm going to pick my selection tool and I'm going to drag my text over here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. So now that we've got our text in place, okay, this is where we want it. If you guys would, go ahead and select your text one time. Should get a little box around it. Should get the little green circle. Up in the right hand corner, you should get a little triangle. It's going to be our drop down menu. And this is something I like to do. I'm going to select that drop down menu. It gives us a whole bunch of options. And one of them that I want to use is the locking. If I select that, it gives me a couple more options. Unlock, lock in place, allow move and rotate. I'm going to select lock in place. And while I do that, before I do that, I'm going to point out the shortcut on your computers is Control K. And to unlock it is Control J. I love shortcuts. So let's go ahead and lock that in place. So now when I go to select it, it's not going to move anywhere. Now if I can still tap on it, bring up my little padlock, that's when I can unlock it. Okay, so now that we've got our text up there, we need to come up there to our tools panel. I'm going to select one of the objects. Okay? With one of the objects, let's go ahead in the contextual panel. Let's go ahead and select one of our objects. I'm just going to select one of the squares. And it's going to be very important on this part. Let's come over here to our right hand side to our page sorter tab. Let's go to our properties panel. I'm going to go ahead and select solid fill. I'm going to pick one of the colors. Okay. Now you can also do that right up here on the contextual panel, triangle, or we can bring up our color dialog box. So once I've done that, I'm going to have some fill on it, then I can just draw my object right over my text. Okay? Now, for those of you who don't care to have the object cover up the whole page, I'm included. Okay? I'm going to select my selection tool, select my box. All I have to do is just click on it once. Brings up my green circle, which means we can rotate that. Down here on the bottom right is a little circle. Okay? If I select that, that's going to allow me to reshape my object. Okay? This makes it a little bit more manageable for me. So, okay. So now, with that, there is our move and reveal. Okay? Pretty simple. Alright. Now, our next technique is our hide and reveal. Okay? So, now, what we're going to do with that is we're going to bring our text box, or bring up our keyboard on my system tray. Either I can bring it up that way, or up here in the system, or in the tools panel. Select my A, contextual panel, select one of my texts. But let's go ahead and type just a little bit more gibberish. I'm going to close that out. Grab my selection tool, and I'm going to move that down below. And I'm going to double click on it, brings that up. I'm going to triple click, select my word. Okay. Might be a little easier with the mouse where you can go ahead and drag right over it. Now, if you notice right now we can see the words, right? We don't want that. Okay, so if we come over here to our properties panel, on our text style, now if you have a white background using the default, we can pretty well get away with using the white box. I prefer to make sure I always use the dropper and select my background. Okay? The reason why I'm just partial of who I am. You know, I just want to make sure that it's not going to show up. Okay. I'm going to make sure my auto hide is selected down here in the bottom left hand corner. I clicked on my board, all of a sudden the text is gone. So it's not really gone, because I'm going to select my box and use my selection tool. If I drag that down, there's my text. So hopefully you can see that in the back. Okay. Ooh, my board is still on. Alright, there we go. For some reason I kind of lost control. Okay, so that does happen. First thing I like to do is check to make sure my green light's on. So, alright, but moving right along. Okay, in the event that it does not show up, on the top right hand corner we have our drop down box. And we need to make sure that it's in our order. Okay? You may have to send our box to the back or select your text and bring to the forward. Okay? All it is playing around on which is on top, which is on bottom. Very similar to holding up a couple pieces of paper. Which one is on top? When you have the one on top, it hides the one on the bottom. Okay? Alright. Now, to my favorite one. So I'm going to bring up my keyboard on the systems tray, and I'm going to type just a little bit of gibberish. Okay, so I've got my gibberish. Come up there with my selection tool. I'm going to move this. Oh, let me close that out. Got my selection tool selected, how it's highlighted blue. I'll move that over. Alright. Let's go ahead and lock that in place. So I can select it once. Just go over that real quick again. Bring my little drop down arrow. Got my lock in place. Okay, I don't want it to go anywhere. Alright, now this is the cool part. I can select my pens up there in the tools panel, and it brings up my contextual panel. On my contextual panel, rather than using that, I like to use the properties. And once again, I like to use the little dropper. I like to select my background. Sometimes I don't always use white background. So rather than trying to take 5-10 minutes trying to figure out, try to match those colors up, use that eyedropper. It'll save you a ton of time. Okay? Alright. Next thing is, on my thickness, I want to use the largest one. Okay? Makes it a little easier for me. So once I've selected it, if I come over here, if I touch my panel, oh, I forgot to pick white, didn't I? So, let me go ahead and take my selection tool. I'm going to move that, get that out of the way. Alright, I can bring down my drop cap, hit delete. Alright, you guys will be able to do that on your computers real simple. Just hit the delete key. Alright, so let's come up, bring up our panel, our properties. Alright, I got to take a step back. Select my pens. Now I've got my properties. I'm going to select my dropper. I'm going to select my background. Yeah, that should have gone white, shouldn't it? Okay. Alright. I'm not sure what happened. Sometimes you just got to do it again. And then with my pen, I'm just going to write over my text. Nice and easy, right? So, is it gone? No. So we're going to come up here and select, up in our tools panel, select our eraser tool. We've got our option number 3. I'm going to keep it, leave it on the big one. And once I start erasing, it brings up my text. That's my favorite one. So I can use that in lots of activities, especially in accounting. I've got my assets, liabilities, owner's equity. Which ones are, I can hide, you know, which one might be this or might be that. Using that erase tool, you know, it kind of gets the kids a little bit more involved. So, anyway, I'm going to go back to the previous page. And our discussion is, why would you want to hide information before you talk about it? And that is what we need to talk about. My number one reason, get the kids involved, get them focused. Okay, you guys may have more ideas, more things to discuss, and we can talk about that as a group. But something else I also want to make sure that we do is I want to take a little bit of time. Let's go ahead and create our own activities that you guys can use in the classroom. Being this is on video, I want to say thank you so much for your opportunity and the time, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.